Pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, Commissioners Court is meeting in the central jury room for the purpose of courthouse restoration meeting. So at this time, I'll turn this over to Stoddard.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Congress meeting number 33, May 17th, 2011, 10 a.m. Sign-in sheet is going around. And safety update. Again, we have, periodically we'll have a safety inspector come by, and everything is good on our part. Dennis has stated that they have a regional safety inspector to be at the job site in the next few days. I don't know if that's happened yet. Project schedule. Looks like June 7th is our next meeting at the Central Jury. And 2-week look ahead. We are, as far as Stoddard is concerned, we're continuing ceiling panel repairs and installation, continuing sheetrock installation. We're starting to complete the ceiling framing in the courtroom. We're installing fur downs and cutting rough openings for fire extinguisher cabinets. Our electrician Gensler is installing floor boxes, roughing in the courtroom lighting, and continuing roughing for power for the sprinkler system. Robles is not on site. When we're ready to demo more concrete, they will be called out. Everest, our painter, is, we just got the final finished paint scheduled yesterday, so he'll start painting up on the 3rd floor. We're ready to start painting some rooms. So he'll start coming down the 3rd floor, down to the 2nd floor on the west side, and then over to the 3rd floor on the east side. MMI is same thing. They're staying ahead of the painter, and plaster is staying ahead of the wood guy. And just we're getting a flow going through the building now. We're finishing out rooms. Hood update from Jackie and Tim. I don't think Jackie's here, but Tim, give us an update.
We have no issues at this point. Except for the we're still looking at the wood on the windows. Is the only issue I know that we're addressing at this point.
There's a lot of them don't appear to be even closely matched. Now, to be even closely matched, either in grain or quality. They're totally different colors, different grains. Plus, they've used butted ends instead of mitered ends. Okay, so I think you and Tim probably have to review something.
Yeah, we have talked about it. I just want to let y'all know that we have talked about it, and we are discussing that at this time.
With Nolan.
Yes, and Lee and Nolan and myself, and I don't remember the gentleman's name from the wood company.
We're discussing it, or we're going to do something about it?
Oh, we're going to do something about it.
A lot of difference in discussing, and it just is going to get fixed.
Yeah, we'll review that more with Jeff.
The other day when we had that rain, it had red all run off down under the rock. Did you figure out what caused that, Tim?
No.
Y'all know what I'm talking about?
I haven't heard that.
Paint on the rock.
Paint off the window, that red paint, run down the rock.
They were out there scraping.
I thought maybe they might have been using watercolor. I wasn't sure. Way it looked.
It was bad.
Was that the primer or the
Throughout, or
finish?
was it just
Well, I just
No
seen
more was it?
I just seen two
It was
pictures.
the windows on the bathroom.
On the bathroom? First floor.
and I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's fresh and painted, you know, it wasn't quite dry yet.
No one's aware of it though, so no one knows.
No one saw it.
It may get another test Thursday and Friday this week.
Let's see. Tim, you're pretty much done. Stephen, I guess, is there anything you need to update?
No, not.
You're good?
We've got the concrete boxes in, and the ones we talked about the last meeting, those are actually in and installed. We're just ready to put the concrete for it, and we're going to go to the second floor when it's in. Then all the AV and ITs will be running.
Tim, can you give us an update on training? A little bit.
The duct insulators started this morning, working in the attic. They're gonna start next week with hanging unit heaters in the attic, and the geothermal guys will be purging their lines and testing them. And once we get a decision on the diffusers that are going in the courtroom, once we come up with what we're gonna actually do on that, then at that time, all the attic ductwork will be completed. And then they're waiting on the repouring floors in the rooms with concrete floors before they set the last units.
And we'll get with Jeff on the diffuser today. Out of the court. Anything else, Tim?
No,
That gets us to calendar square events. It's coming up, the Grand River Memorial Weekend picnic. Do we need to remove that dumpster?
Or it's on the lawn? The one that's on the, isn't there one on the lawn?
I don't think so. It's
No,
right on the
it's
street.
out of the
Or on the
street.
street?
When do they set booths up around the square on that weekend? They don't set booths up?
I don't think so.
I don't think we'll have, July 4th.
It's a parade, I know it's a parade on Sunday or Monday, and but we don't have booths like we do for General Grand Prix for it, do we?
Not to my knowledge, I don't think so.
Answer your
Is it
question.
okay to leave it?
I think so.
I believe so.
We'll take it
Different
around.
story, the Fourth.
We'll make, I don't think they set booths up. This is designed to, it's a, like a spring type fair, and people come to the square, and
I got you.
I think we're fine.
Okay, okay, good, thanks. Submittals, this concrete has kind of turned into we're having to get a piece of concrete, the existing concrete. We sent it to Johnny Langer to review the finish, because Susan wants to match the finish of the existing concrete. It looks like there might have been a stain on it, so he's going to review that. I can't even get a submittal going until I know exactly what I'm submitting. So it's in, we overnighted it Friday. He should have it this week. He should be able to get us some kind of analysis of what we need to do on that concrete.
Wait. On the stain that's on the floor?
Yes. Well, our argument is we think it's a stain, so they probably didn't stain it back then. So what are we matching? What color are we matching?
Well, they're matching something they put on later, I imagine. I don't think.
Why aren't we demoing all of it and taking it all out?
Yes.
Yeah, so what are we matching?
That's kind of our question.
But
But they
what-
instructed us to send it to Johnny Langer.
They who?
Architects is in the TEC.
Yeah, maybe.
When are we gonna pour it? When were you ready to pour it?
I mean, if I knew what to submit, I could submit it. Holden would have it done probably within a couple of days, and we'd be ready to pour. I think we could. I was trying to get it.
You're
done.
ready to pour, but you're waiting on this.
Yeah, I think
Other than that, you're ready to pour the concrete.
There's a couple of issues I need to get with Jeff on today, finish out a couple of areas, but other than that, yeah.
Is this holding us up?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
We'll be between now and the next meeting.
Yeah, well,
That's holding us up.
we're waiting for this Yanni or whatever his name is to give him an analysis, and I don't know, there's nothing to match, we're taking it all
Where'd Jeff
out.
run off to?
And
He
it
didn't
wasn't
bring- he
there
didn't bring the
originally, right?
What's that?
Probably wasn't there originally, right?
I wouldn't think so. I imagine it's something
They
that
had
had on.
stained concrete in the 90s.
Could we be matching the mix? Not a stain that was added later, but the type of mix? I mean, there's different mixes of concrete.
Well, I mean, they know what mix to put on a floor, suspended floor concrete pour.
You got that.
They're talking about color.
The
here, is
color.
what they're talking about.
It wasn't, I don't think it was color originally.
I wouldn't think so. I think that's something, if there's any color on it at all, it's added, something that's added on.
Well, we have, at their direction, we have sent that to Yanni, and hopefully we can get an answer pretty quick from him.
Yeah, hopefully. We're back
It
to
seemed
hopefully.
like
Let us know if you don't, seriously, You know, I ask that every time, are we still shooting for August? And if this is holding up August, let's
For the
move on.
concrete.
Let's pull the concrete.
Yeah.
I would suggest if she's got some particular color in mind, I mean, let's get it forward. We can always, they stained it before, we stain it again if she wants it stained.
If this is a big issue, we meet next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for regular court. I mean, we do meet next Tuesday.
We do.
We do. We do. So
Okay.
I'm saying if it is,
We need,
we put on the item, agenda item.
we need to have that.
But we need to move, this needs to be forward.
Yeah, I mean, we need to resolve it.
And it'll go ahead and put that on the agenda. We don't let it run out on time, and if we can just
Yeah.
scoot it off. Or
Well, that was our understanding, that it was just a concrete mix. We're going to submit it, pour it, go from there.
What's HDR stands?
On the restoration issues, we defer to architects. And we've reviewed the materials they've sent us from a strength standpoint, and we've given them a couple options on how to do that.
What did the specs call for originally?
Well, you actually have two different kinds of concrete spec. My experience would tell me that if you have two different mixes, there's a high likelihood that there will be some variation in color.
Yeah, definitely.
Light and dark.
The more Portland they have in, the more cement, usually the darker they are. I think, isn't that right?
Right.
They come out darker.
One of the things we had suggested as an option, because you have slab on grade conditions, you have the suspended slabs. And so since that slab on grade, you've got a lot of, tolerance in terms of how deep you go in terms of digging out that rubble. Just that you could put in the slab on grade and then have a topping over that to match the suspended slab. So that's one of the things we put in there, from a strength standpoint. But I think here we're talking about the look and the finish of it.
Yeah. more than looking at it. I mean, we want y'all to be happy with this concrete.
That's right.
I don't know how pretty that can be.
Concrete gets hard, turn gray, and cracks.
Yes.
That's the guarantee for concrete.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And we had said that welded wire fabric could be used in lieu of the fiber.
Right. Up on the suspended part, that was the two different mixes. You had the suspended area up there, it didn't have any reinforcing in it recently. And so, and rightly so, there's a product that has fiber in it.
I know about that.
And so that's what got spec for that area.
Well, that fiber, it does good. It's fuzzy on top when you first put it down, and
Or if you sweep it and broom it, it wears off.
yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I have no problem with the fiber stuff.
But yeah.
The color is what, are we supposed to put dye in this concrete? Is that what we're,
Well.
and I know they didn't put no, I
When
know
did
they
this
didn't.
come up? I don't even remember.
That's the first time I've ever
First
heard
of
of
the
it.
week. It all came up first.
Well, I wish somebody would seriously communicate with us because, I hate to come to a meeting and have this sprung on us.
Right.
And I'm not talking about you guys necessarily, but evidently.
Susan evidently
Susan.
advised you, so why didn't she advise us at the same time? It's something we could have been
Does she think
investigating.
this
and thinking about.
concrete had dye in it, in the concrete? You don't know.
I don't know.
We'll put it on the agenda. You'll know by next
When you look
Tuesday.
at the piece of the concrete, it's pretty obvious that somebody did something to it.
On top of it,
But,
later.
it's hard to tell. I mean, it could be simply they use that old black mastic, and that stuff, when you put it on concrete, you pull a piece of concrete, it carries.
Well, I don't want the job held up on account of this teacher. I'm part of this.
I agree.
Easily.
All right. Well, we'll
Jeff comes back.
we'll
I
put
wanna
it
hear
on the
from Jeff.
agenda next
Well,
week.
Jeff
You'll
comes
know by
back.
Tuesday.
Jeff's coming back, he's
I
gone.
guess. He knows about the concrete. When he comes back, we'll ask him that question.
But we'll move on and then we'll
Now,
come
let's
back.
move
to
on. Let's go.
RFIs, there are none at this time. I don't believe train does. Staging, same, south side. I believe on payment procedures, we think we've got March. April is going to be reviewed by Jeff today.
if we're hung on the concrete.
That's what I was just talking to. The guy that's got the, he's doing some testing from one of the samples to try to determine whether it's original or not. His indication that it probably is original. I'm going to go double check the site real quick on a couple indications to make sure we've got it under baseboards and make sure it's all seemingly what he's saying. He's testing it right now, and he's coming up with the first. He just got it this morning in the mail, and he's coming up with his thoughts that it is probably original.
So just pour concrete back. I mean, that's what it was.
No, he said it's color, got
The
color.
color of the concrete on top of it. What it was it's a topping that they basically added some sand and some different colors, and they did like a topping and trowel on it.
Just brushed it in.
And we were thinking it was possibly, later on it was a stain or something because it was such a little thin coat, but he was saying that it looks like it was an application that they did originally when they troweled it on. That's the first thing, that's his indications right there, and I'm going to go confirm it at the site.
Yeah, well, get an answer quick on it.
Oh yeah, that's
So let's go back and talk about it. If we had tore the floor out, we'd have never known the difference.
if you wouldn't have torn the floor out.
Yeah. If we'd have just capped the floor like we talked about, we'd have never known the difference.
Well, this is the whole first corridor, the first floor as well. That's all torn out.
But if we wait 3 weeks, it puts us behind again. That's what we're saying. I mean, this is like fixing your flat and then realizing when you put the tire back on, you need brakes. Good God.
We're sitting on a standstill here, and these guys are ready to pour concrete in.
Well, we should have an answer.
By when?
I'm hoping today. As soon as I
Okay.
go there and confirm.
I don't
I
want
don't want
these.
hope. I want an answer.
I don't want no 2 or 3 weeks is the problem. I can tell you that.
No, I
I'd say
understand.
by
I'm just trying to. And how did you know about this?
How did I know about what?
The concrete. Who made the decision to send it to Yanni?
I think it's a collective decision
By who?
between all of us. But
It's all up here. Don't worry about it.
I'm the one that said let's probably send it to Yanni to determine this, and Susan and Lee and everybody said let's do it.
Were you there?
Well, we're on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, the people that write the checks ought to know about that, don't you think?
Yes, I'm sorry. I was going to let everybody know what I'm doing today when I came in, and
Well, you hit us right in the face with something that's slowed us down, and it's just really asinine to
Well,
get this kind of stuff going on.
What we need to do though is get it resolved.
We got to get it done.
Let's have it resolved by Tuesday's Commissioners Court.
No, I want it done
So
quicker
it's
than
a
that.
done deal, and they can go back on the schedule for concrete.
By the end of the day.
They're ready to pour concrete right now, and here we are. Now we're going to say, well, we'll do it by
Another analysis.
another week.
well, no, I don't know if we're going to be doing analysis. What we were having to do regardless, when we were already in front of this, is saying this is the color that we got. It looks like we're going to have to match that color. And that's been the thought this whole last before we even sent this to Yanni.
That's more stuff that we're going to have to pay for extra, right?
No. The standard approach was saying this is the color we got, and this is the color we've always had, and that's the color that we have to match. When we looked at it, we're going, well, this was awfully, we were looking at it a little closer and was going, this might not be original. If it's not original, then we can take that gray that's underneath and match that color and be done with it. So we're either matching the gray that's underneath or that topping. But we need to know which one we're going to match, and so we can go forward. And so then I said, let's send it to get a verification on, make sure we're not screwing up the original. And so let's get that. It was either the top or the bottom.
All we're saying is on the 3rd of May, we had a meeting.
Yeah.
They'd already demoed that floor, because I almost fell through Judge Walton's floor the other day.
Right.
Okay? Here it is the 17th. Okay? We should have known that on the 3rd when you were down here. Somebody should have pulled a sample and looked at that.
We did pull a sample at that particular time.
Then email works, it's magic. Email works great.
I apologize that I didn't let you know I was sending it down. I was just trying to determine the color between the top
All
and
right, so you're going to have it done today?
Yes, we already
All right,
yeah.
what's
Yes.
the next item?
Okay. Let's see. Change proposals. CPR 4 is still out there pending. CPR 22 is the star sign acoustic wall at courtroom. I did verify some pricing, deducted pricing, and I did get back from our, Jeff from our contractor.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is about that original spec product is $45 a bag, which covers about 15 square feet. which is about $3 a square foot for material.
Mhm.
So his deducted pricing is in line. So the bottom line, the price is $39,625 to do that back wall.
Mhm.
So I guess we can open that up and talk about that.
Well, I'll give you my position as it was 2 months ago. Even if we do this, we're still guessing. We do not know what the model is going to work out to be. And my vote would be if we have an echo or too much volume, we turn the volume down and forget about messing with bloody acoustics, because it's guesswork. And I'm not happy with paying 40 grand for guesswork. Because if you put these patches in there of acoustic plaster, and you still have feedback or echo or a live room, as you call it, which it's going to be with a 20-plus foot ceiling, if any room's going to be live, then the question is going to be, well, gee, what would we have if we wouldn't have spent the 40? You might have the same thing. You don't know. It's a guesswork. So if you're guessing, I'd say don't do it. That's my opinion.
Does anybody else have any comments on that?
The original line item for doing that plaster, the acoustic part of the plaster is how much?
2,200.
2,200 or 22,000?
2,200.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the what was bid originally for those pieces, I thought there was a line item that we had that was a larger line item for acoustic plaster. I was just seeing if we're not going to be doing it, I just was wondering what the deduct might be, and that should be in line
It
with.
won't be 40 grand.
Probably the decision just needs to be made whether y'all want
I
it.
agree with that.
If you do decide to do nothing to the back wall, there would be a deduct coming for the plaster.
That's what I'm
For the
getting.
acoustic plaster.
Right.
But you don't have much.
What was the original?
Well,
But he's looking.
He's looking,
Three
Jeff.
spots.
Yes, look, it's
Three
right.
cameras back there.
Over 22.
when you take something out, though, you have to put something back.
Correct.
Well, the
Paint, glass, paint.
already there.
Plaster's there.
I mean,
The plaster's part of the job anyway.
No, the plastic. Most of that plaster's gone.
It is, because of that.
I know, but you planned on re-plastering.
Well, there's a minimum of part just because the plaster that has to be after that repair that was done on those studs. But it's nothing like the acoustic.
No, can't be.
I'm just saying, until we
Line item
see
somewhere.
what has to be put back. If you take that out, something.
We're waiting on him to find.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just looking at that and I can't find it offhand.
Yeah.
I'll find them sure as soon as we're done talking about it.
Well, my point being is, until you decide what has to go back, what's there and what's not.
Well, to go back to what was spec, you had to have it spec in your original bid.
We bought off on the original spec back in the day.
Oh, but you don't want to use that. I mean, we've already established that.
Why did we spec it if we don't want to use it?
We have brought y'all samples in the past, and that product is a very, very rough, coarse, granular product. I mean, you can do it, but you're not gonna, you will not be able to do that painting like all the rest of the equipment. It's going to stand out like so long.
It was an appropriate finish and it's
It's hideous.
Well, that's still an answer. For what was spec when you bid this thing? What did you spec to
the
do
spec
with
was
that?
it was a Pyroc Acoustamint 40 acoustic plaster. The finish of it was a rougher than what the smooth plaster
It's ugly
is,
and
and
looks
that
bad, why
finish
don't you
was not going to
I didn't
pass.
That was an item that was put in that very last round of comments in the THC, the final round of THC comments. Because we had acoustical panels in.
Yeah, I know we did.
And that was put in as a preferred product.
And the main thing was that
THC comments.
what the THC was trying to accomplish was that if you go back with anything applied on top of it, that you're going to be covering up some of the nice work and the money that you're spending for the stenciling that's going up in that, because there's does really nice stenciling all through
But
that
see, that
courtyard.
doesn't make sense either, because it didn't have acoustical plaster on it when they built it.
Yes, but if you can go back with an acoustic plaster that's very similar to the finish of the original wall, and then you do all your stenciling painting on top of that, then you're trying to help the room perform a little bit, and you're not having to come back later and put something on top of it to cover up all the stenciling. So their thought was, let's try to get it in there now, instead of saying it's not performing, if somebody later comes back and puts panels up and covers up some of the work. And then if you go back and put up panels later on for probably that square footage that you're talking about, it's going to be probably 10, 15 grand to put up acoustic panels. So I think their thought was, instead of spending 10 or 15 grand on putting up acoustic panels later, if that might be the case, and covering up some nice stenciling for money that you spent, and to restore the courthouse, is put in that 10 or 15 grand now into the acoustic plaster, so you won't cover up your stenciling
But
later.
10 or 15
So that-
grand is now 40.
Yeah, but that's also at the same time, if you can hit off the money that, I think, is it half and half on the THC paying on the
Yeah,
on the back?
so it's 20.
So then later on, if you paid 10 grand or plus to put up panels, that would be all on your own pocket, instead of having to split it now with acoustic plaster and put up your stenciling coloring later on. Then you'd be paying 10 grand of the panels, on your own, and then risk covering up the work. So that was the thought behind it.
But we're not putting up panels.
Yeah, if you're not going to put up panels,
I don't
Ever.
see us ever doing that, ever.
then it's something that the court can save at this point and go forward.
Well, again, let's finish the job. I don't care, make a decision, we're gonna do it or don't do it, let's move on.
Yeah.
We've gotta get this done.
And there's all the things you can do. There's been areas where they don't want to put anything on the walls, and we put baffling underneath the seats to stop the movement of sound going in between the seats. There's less obtrusive ways to try to combat that instead of putting panels down the room. But anyway, it's the court's decision.
Well, what's the court's pleasure on this? We've heard from Dick. Mike, you got any comment?
I go back to the original spec.
Original spec?
Well, hey, can I,
Sure.
based on your statement, I mean, I don't think you want to go to the original spec.
No,
Let me tell you why. Imagine that black wall up there with this piece of carpet on it. Okay? That's what you're going to be looking at if you put that special lot parking.
the original spec was a semi-smooth surface. Next to that smooth surface, you'll be able to tell the difference, especially when you put it on the wall.
Let's don't talk about original specs. Let's talk about
Just-
original wall.
Right, just cover up the smooth plaster like you don't everywhere
You
else.
either need to put acoustic wall up there, or you need to go with just plaster, it's like all the rest of them.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't want this plaster being $30,000. You're talking about what you got to replace.
No.
Just regular, just plaster.
Acoustic plaster.
I understand that, but then you just said a while ago, well, you took it down, you got to replace it. You said that yourself.
Our acoustic plaster, line item 71, our acoustic plaster is 20 grand that we had on the scheduled value.
Okay.
So, I think that's the only area that we have acoustic plaster on,
So
separated
plaster
out.
would be less than that.
Yeah,
Well, I
so,
hope so.
so just,
Well,
right.
it's $3 a square foot if you put acoustics up there.
That's just,
You could probably,
that's the material.
If you just go back.
$8 to put the whole additional labor on it.
Steve, did you hear that? No cost
There's
to
no
go back.
additional
with
cost
plaster.
to go back to, just to go back to the.
So what's the court's pleasure on this?
Hey,
I heard Dick, Mike said
What was his cost on acoustic?
his cost, he said 20,000.
20.
39,000 to
It's
do it the way
39
Susan
now.
wants it.
39,625.
40 grand.
Was I clear on that?
Yeah, sure.
You don't want to put.
No, not the original.
You agree with that, right?
Claudia,
no,
you have-
absolutely, I agree with that.
Absolutely, you don't want to go.
Now, is the 39 grand, is that minus the 20 grand that was in the schedule?
That's the credit.
And then minus another 10 grand if THC's paying half of it?
Well, no, I don't THC.
but
That's not in mine.
have you got the
But
25?
I mean, I do want to mention, though, again, I'm not sure if you're accounting, but you still have money left in contingency, which is.
Yeah, but This 39,000, is that what it's gonna cost
That's
us?
what it's gonna cost you.
You've
It's
done,
costing us
you've done took,
19,000
You
more.
and THC,
you've done
now, I
took
don't
the
know who
20,
paid
you've done
it.
took the $20,000 out.
You've got your credit for what was written back.
So it's 69, really.
No, it's 50.
59, I mean. God almighty.
Claudia, you have something?
I'm back to the last one.
Okay, now, to me, we've got that gorgeous painting that's going up, and we don't want to hurt this. This is the first time I've heard us put stuff underneath the chairs. But I mean, the courthouse is the center of the county, the courtroom is the center of the courthouse. So I say we spend the money that we have, even if we have to dip to contingency. And remember, you've got monies here from HDMA and Reserve Cranberry, and we've been known to have bake sales. We're pretty good cooks. But I don't want to mess up the acoustics in that courtroom, because for me, it's been really hard not to have the courthouse a working courthouse. And I've so respected that you all want it to be a working courthouse, and it will be again. So I want it to remain the heart of our county. So to me, this is a very, very important item.
But you heard a while ago, there's no guarantee that it'll work even if they do it.
Well-
And why is it so important if it wasn't done that way in 1890? I mean, didn't
I just think the fact
wasn't it a
is,
working
we're not
courthouse?
having district court there ever again. District court, because of the jury selection and the amount of people, we don't have microphones on here right now. We're doing it by regular voice. I went down with Judge Tuggle the other day, and we talked at this level. We screamed, we hollered. I think we turn our mics up and down. It's a savings of $40,000. We move on and we finish it. If you want to spend money on something, we do it in a grand way and do it somewhere else. But Susan can't sit here and tell me that that $40,000 is going to keep from ricocheting off the wall and sound like a can. She cannot do that. It sounds like a can when I'm talking. It doesn't sound like a can when Mike's talking in this room. I can guarantee you they can hear me without a microphone. But it's $40,000 when economy's going down every day. Our taxes, our ad valorem money is going to be less and less this year. I'm not raising taxes. And at the same time, I don't want to lay anybody off, but yet I've got 2 or 3 business owners on the square calling me, finish the project, you're killing my business.
Well, and I hope you remind them that we are and continue to be in a recession.
I've tried, there's no reasoning with them.
Well, I know, but I hope you remind them that, and I'm so sorry, because you guys, as I've told you, are doing a magnificent job. You're doing a magnificent job. But I just want
Claudia,
to
I don't know if the acoustic wall will solve our acoustic problem.
If I knew it would, I would jump on it in a minute.
Danny, you got something?
As Commissioner Berry said, we went down into the courtroom. He was in one corner of the courtroom and I was in the other. We were speaking in this tone of voice right here to hear just as clearly each other as we could. And I don't know what else that,
And with painting furniture, it's going to get better.
because to me, that's as good as you can hope for.
We didn't have acoustics in there for the last 100 years when district court was held there. I mean, we had to make, we added carpet over time. They've got this linoleum that's going to help. But, this is the biggest crowd we normally have, even Commissioner's Court, unless there's a hot topic on the item and they bring the neighborhood. But I mean, not everyone talks at once. I don't know. It's just a lot of money to spend in this recession, as you said.
I believe we're in a recession, and it's not going to be anything when we lay all these educators off across the country, and that. But what I heard this morning, I hadn't heard before, that we could come underneath the seats with
There's like a separation baffling that you can put underneath seats, and you can be a little bit more strategic about trying to stop some of the sound transmission and the angles that it's hitting, and keep the sound where it makes the sound stay down low.
Is that expensive?
Okay.
No.
You can also do cushions on the seats as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my main deal is I don't want us to be doing all this work on that back wall and then coming in and putting up those ugly acoustic panels. And
Not
if you
on
guys are not gonna put up those acoustic panels,
No.
and I don't have to, come and toilet paper your house or anything, then I'll be all right.
Okay.
I move that we do away with the acoustics and do it with the plaster on the back wall.
I have a motion by Commissioner Heatherington to do away with the acoustics and plaster the back wall. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Opposed? Motion carried. That's done.
Okay, CPR 33 is receptacle on top of the clock tower, $1,090.
What is that? I don't know.
Tim, kind of explain, that's for the lights, I think?
It was for the star that we had on top of the courthouse. It's, we don't want to do it.
You don't, okay.
We're not gonna do that. I move that we don't scratch that.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Heatherington, seconded by Commissioner Berry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
Before we go further, can I want to be sure that everybody's clear now. The back wall, we're just plastering.
Plaster.
It would be the same as every.
And
Paint it the way you normally would paint
and all
it.
that stuff. It's like that.
Stenciled or whatever,
Just like it
whatever
was
Lee was talking
originally,
about.
1890. All right. Roof painting. I believe somebody want to talk about roof painting? Yes, Claudia.
I do. We've all established, none of us were here when that courthouse was built. We've also established that it had a red color to it. When it was repainted a kind of brownish red. Now, I'm willing to go down, but I don't want to, just be firing a cannon down in Austin. But I'm willing to go down and try and talk to that stand person that's Susan's boss and see if we can't get a better match. Steve has said all along, if you talk to me about an 8515, I'll talk. I don't want anything that's not going to, remain, and I keep hearing that it'll go 15 years. My house probably needs to be repainted. It was repainted in 96, so it's done, really well. But I'd just like for us to explore this a little further. I don't see it holding up the project, but I don't want to go down and talk to people and try to get an 8515 match if that's not something I can talk with y'all about when I come back.
Well, there's several issues, I think. One is the roof and they haven't even said, they said it's going to be 2 weeks before they'll let us know whether they will guarantee or if it's stick or peel off. They're doing this freeze, heat, freeze, and so, we don't know that. Right now we don't know.
But they're asking the court to formally request the 8515 funding in writing. Because at the last meeting, you all instructed Susan to go ahead and ask him about the 8515 funding.
And
while this testing is going on, so it doesn't take.
And then she wrote back to us and asked us to approach him rather than her.
No, she's just asking you to write a formal letter requesting it so she can present that letter to him. And we could go down and talk to him also. We're willing to go down there. She just needs a letter asking for it. She can't ask for it herself. And if you all aren't willing to do that letter, then while the testing's going on, then you're looking at more time at the end when the testing's done. And if that's the way you want to do it, you want to wait till the testing comes back and then explore the funding, that's your prerogative. But that's what she was asking for. So we can take care of the funding while the testing's going on so it doesn't hold up the end of the job. That was the request.
My problem with the whole deal about painting this roof, if we don't paint the roof, 15 years, 20 years from now, the courthouse is going to look just like it does right now. We go paint this roof, and 4 or 5 years, we've got big places up there that they didn't get clean, and pieces pull off, and they've got cracks where the red and the gray shines, and then the taxpayer themselves going to have to do it again. This time it's 150. How much is it gonna be in 5 years, 6 years? 200,000? That the taxpayers are gonna have to do it if they repaint. I just can't see painting a roof that doesn't show anywhere, and never be any different than it is right now. We paint it, and in 4 or 5 years, we've got a problem that we've got to redo it again. I can't do that. Now, that's my opinion on that one.
The other problem, Claudia, that my concern is, if that roof, as I said last meeting, physics says that if you roll it or spray it, paint goes in a straight line. You don't paint under edges. It's built like this. You've seen it in this courtroom. As it moves, and Tim has verified, it moves up to an inch total. That's a ½ inch for each piece in 100-degree versus 30-degree weather. You're going to have gray stripes in it when it moves because it isn't going to get painted where it overlaps. What are you going to come back and say then? It looks like a polka dot ceiling. You got to do it over. Or you got to take it apart and paint it. That's an impossible situation, and it's going to show. I'm telling you, it's going to show. I can see movement between winter and summer now. If you look at that courthouse, you can see different shades of gray because of the movement. But when it becomes gray and red, that's going to look terrible. It's going to look like a half-done job. And it's always going to look like that until you either take it apart or go back to the original color, which is what it is now. I'm not convinced it was ever red because I think you have different hues there now when it moves, but you don't. You've got two grays.
It was brown in the 80s. It was a reddish brown
It was
in the
shingles.
70s. I mean, the shingles.
But that
It was shingled in,
That wasn't this metal roof.
right? Everybody agree? I mean, Linda, when it shingled in back then.
Yeah. The thing is that the color that it is now is not what it was originally.
No, that's true.
No, probably isn't.
It was always contrasting colors. And, you know, one of our beloved leaders, Janine Makins, told us years ago, you know, it needs to go back to contrasting colors. And that will affect, I truly, really believe that going back to a contrasting color scheme and making it stand out the way it used to on the skyline will affect the economy downtown.
Wouldn't that do the same thing if you trimmed that tower in red?
It would be nice if we could at least do that, yes.
I think it needs to be trimmed.
I can go with that.
I think it should be trimmed, I mean, to make it stand out.
So do you write the letter then asking to do the tower now, so that like the ladies were saying, we're not waiting 2 more weeks when we finally find out if the paint's gonna stick?
Well, is that the
I'm just asking.
commission, if y'all want a letter written, we'll write a letter. If y'all want one written. If you want it trimmed out.
I'd like to have the tower trimmed, yes.
Yes, I would too.
Do y'all want to write a letter? You want me to write a letter to that?
That's for 8515.
Okay.
Now, do y'all want me to go down there and chat with the guy, see if we can get 85?
That's just the tower.
I understand.
Claudia, one thing that we did find out, and we're waiting on this gentleman for this freeze deal for 28 days, but what he did say earlier, Tim's right. At 100 degrees, those shingles, when they contract in the cold weather versus hot weather, there is an inch of give, ½ inch on each shingle. So that is a concern as they move across the top. What's that going to do to the paint? Now, if you paint them all when it's 100 degrees, I don't know.
Well, I don't think we need to do anything with the...
I stopped at Lancaster's coming back, and it's a standing ridge roof, not a shingled roof, okay? I mean, it's like you see the barns and the houses, but I stopped on my way back to my son's graduation, and it is actually a sheet of metal that's been baked on enamel versus...
That's the way Parker County is.
Yeah, and that color's put on there before they put them up.
Yeah, so it's all under everything.
Right.
All right, well, I'll do that then.
Let's get a letter, let's talk about doing the tower, let's
I
forget
said
about
I
it.
wasn't going to write a letter. I guess I'll write a letter.
Why don't you write a letter,
I'll
Bill?
write a letter.
Yeah, but Claudia's still asking, do you want her to help? When
Yeah.
she's in Austin a lot, do you want her to go see
let's coordinate
Stan?
that.
Okay,
We take that offline and coordinate it.
okay, all right.
Maybe she can just take the letter too, and she can appoint it.
Okay.
So this would be for trim work
Yes.
above the cornice?
To match the windows.
So that'd be the ridges and around the windows.
Steve
the
calls it
blocks,
eyebrows.
Eyebrows,
eyebrows and the that cresting as well.
like that picture you got right there.
And doing
Yeah,
that
cresting
wouldn't
red.
hold up the length of the job.
No, I'm not for anything that's going to hold us up. Seriously, let's get this done. But I'll write the letter.
Okay,
Okay?
sounds good, thank you.
Okay, Number 2, we've already talked about that, that's a done deal. Number 3 is delete wall between room 201 and 203. I think, Jeff, we talked about a sketch.
Yeah, and I drove that and sent that, I think, next day.
Did we want to
What
run
that
it in the
is that's the room where, when you hit the top of the steps on the right-hand side, Judge Tuggle wants to use that room as his office. Well, they had to add one of those air handlers to that room, the same as they did Judge Walton's old office downstairs. So the air handlers are 36 by 36. There's no place to set a desk ever. So when you walk through, if you'll just add a false wall, okay, with a door in it, it makes a closet space. No, and so he was in tune to that, and he liked that better. And that way, he'll have an area to put, Christmas decorations or storage or whatever, or files. So that's why Jeff looked at it. Lee and Nolan looked at it the day we walked through, and that's what that's about.
Okay.
It's not going to be a greatly added expense other than the wall.
The closet door was coming from the office side, and I needed to move that to the hallway side. But maybe I didn't send that to you or something, but I'll send that back to you, and I'll send it to everybody so everybody can take a look at that. But I have that. I had it done last time.
So are we gonna do it, or?
We're moving one door facing, which wouldn't be a cost, around to the little hallway.
I know, but are we gonna do it?
Yeah, make a motion that
Second.
that's what Danny Tuggle, that's what
We have
Judge
a
Tuggle
motion
wants
by
for his
Commissioner
workable
Berry,
office.
seconded by Commissioner Heatherington. To do that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank y'all. That's it.
Dedication plaque names, we need to start getting all that together for our dedication plaque.
I got a choice I'll send to all the commissioners and the judges.
Thank you.
Okay, so Jeff's going to take care of that. Jeff, you're working on a ceiling for down layout drawing?
Yeah, I sent that.
Is that what I got?
Yeah, that's what you got. It's just, we have to readjust some of the fixtures because some of the units and where they are in the ceiling and the
What ceiling?
so, room 116 on the far side that way, and the opposite hand room. It's just basically taking those light fixtures in the lower ceiling and just turning them 90 degrees and shifting them a little bit. And trying to reduce as much as we can out of the step downs. The original ceilings were going all the way across to the windows, and then it jumped back up and boxed out each window.
Yeah.
This is actually taking that box up and bringing just one single line across the center of the room. So there'd be 2 steps in the step down ceiling to make it work because of all the duct work and has to be on that one side. So the drop down ceiling would basically be a stair step, 2 steps, and then we just had to rotate some lights to do that. The original had a flat ceiling going across, but then it stair stepped around each one window and boxed out the windows. So it's just kind of taking out that box and moving a straight line. So we had to kind of finagle a few rooms to make it work.
I've got a request, Jeff. I was in a meeting this morning with Stephen and Train, Tim, my electrician. Can we corral all the drawings up and get one working set?
That was that last set that I sent out on number 5.
I said all the drawings though in one set?
Well, it's all the change drawings, then you can just put into your set for each one of those. If you want to, I'll redo a whole set and just put it in and just bind them.
And like this, because Train's asking for one.
Yeah.
I know Tim's wanting one.
Okay.
You're wanting one. We're wanting one.
I can redo and bind a whole set.
That's got the as-built and everything in them too, right?
Well, we'll have their as-built as they do them and as they record them.
That'll just be cleaner, I think.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Sure.
Really appreciate that. Number 6, I added, I wanted to make the court aware.
I don't have 6.
No, you don't, but I have added it.
I
It's
don't
an item that I've added that I want to talk about. And what it is we got approval of tongue wall, to use tongue wall on these wood floors. And I just want the court, I mean, that's what the THC has approved, architects has approved it.
Well, let's get it done.
That's what your guess was originally.
Okay.
Right, if you remember that mock when we were out there, we had the original spec and then we had just putting the tongue oil.
We'll make a motion.
I move that we use the tongue oil on the floor. Second.
I have a motion made by Commissioner Heatherington, seconded by Commissioner Simpson to use tongue oil on the floors. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. All right, motion carried. Let's go.
That was just more of a refresher memory.
Yeah, that's
Right,
good, but
right.
But we
now
talked
it's
about
settled.
it before.
Right.
Okay, site review, I'm going to review some details with Jeff on the concrete pours that we've got to do, and I guess number 2 is a dead issue.
Yes, sir, it is.
And that's it.
All right, who's doing landscaping on this? Are you guys? Are we are? Okay. Then we'll talk about that next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we didn't have, we've done everything to consider capital equipment, First Southwest. What is this about?
That's just,
Stan, is that you or?
yes.
Yes, this was to formally give me a direction to proceed with having First Southwest draw up the plans for borrowing funds so that on the next court meeting, you can actually approve the courts. But this is Congress conveying that Jim Sponis would like to formally direct me to ask him to mobilize everybody and get them.
I make the motion that we approve the auditor to activate the Sabonis account and prepare the papers for the capital equipment.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Ron, seconded by Commissioner Heatherington to prepare this order, Stan, prepare an order for First Southwest for Jim's bonus. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
You voted for Tom.
We're adjourned.